So we're starting Be'ez Hashem Siman Nun and haGuela. And it says, V'ayin Ramban Parshas Yisroi Al Kasuv Lo Yiyeh Lecha. The second of the 10 commandments, it says, don't have any other gods before me. So the Ramban's comments here, and he says, Shemavar B'inyani HaAvodah Zarah. He explains the idea of Avodah Zarah. Shahayu Shloisha Minim. He says, what was Avodah Zarah? What was idolatry? There were 3 types of idolatry. V'zel Shainai HaKadosh. This is the words of the Ramban. Harishonim Hechelu La'avodas HaMalachim. How did idolatry begin? Originally, everybody knew that there was a Hashem, right? That created the world. Adam Rishon saw Hashem, talked to Hashem. Noach talked to Hashem. So how did the people of the world go astray and start worshipping idols? So he says, at first they started worshipping the angels. Shehem hasichlim hanivdalim. They're like minds separated from bodies. Souls without bodies. Ba'avur sheyadua lemiksasan srara ala umoist. Because some angels have power over the nations. There's such a thing as every nation has its sar, has its malach and shemaim that takes care of it. So there is some truth to it that every nation has its malach. So if every nation started worshipping its malach, that was like a leap where they thought, okay, instead of going directly to the boss, we're going to go to the sar, to the officer that's in charge of our country. So it says, they thought they thought that these angels had the power to make their own decisions, to harm or to be good to people. And therefore they said, let's dive into the angels. Even though these worshippers agreed that there was a God that's above all the angels and he's the one who's the supreme power. And this is what Chazal say. Kach amru Chazal, Dekari le Eloha de Elohaya, de Elohin. So he says, the Gemara says in Menachos Daf Kuf Yud, we'll see it inside in a second, that the Goyim called Hashem the God of gods, meaning that they believed in Hashem, they just believed in the angels as being like their own power, sort of, that you could pray to them and worship them independently of Hashem. Look at this Gemara. Last daf in Menachos, it says.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll get it. It says, beginning line of line is Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav. Okay, it's like 2 lines up from before the line spread. Yeah. So Mitzor v'Ard Kartigni Makirin Es Yisrael v'Yesavim Shabashamayim, from Tzor, which is Tyre, part of Lebanon, until Kartigni, which is some city in Babylonia. It says from one place to the other, they recognize the Jewish people, the Esavim Shabashmayim, they recognize their Father in heaven. Umi Tzor Klapi Marav, but from Tyre to the west, Umi Kartigni Klapi Mizrach, and from Kartigni to the east of the world, Ein Makirin Es Yisrael v'lo Esavim Shabashmayim. Those Goyim don't know anything about Hashem, they don't know anything about the Jewish people. Eisivei Rav Shimi Bar Chia l'Rav. So Rav Shimi Bar Chia asked a question to Rav. Mi Mizrach Shemesh, and he brought a pasuk in Malachi, in the Navi Malachi. The pasuk says, Mi Mizrach Shemesh v'ad mevoyoi, Gadol Shemi Bagoyim. That from the east to the west, from the east where the sun rises to where it sets, my name is great among the nations. Hashem is telling the Jewish people, my name is great, all the nations know my name. Uvechol makom, all places, muktar mugash lishmi. They bring ketoris, they bring incense to my name. Umincha tohir, they bring a korban mincha. So he's saying, look, you see the nations in the entire world know about Hashem. So what are you telling me only from Tzor until Kartigni they know about Hashem? So Amar Le, Rav answered, Shimi at, are you Shimi? Meaning, how could you ask such a question? Tekaru le Eloha de Eloha. That they call him the God of gods. So meaning that this zone of the world from Tzor to Kartigni, they know Hashem, they worship Hashem. They really know that he's the one who controls the world. Mashenkin, outside this zone, They know about Hashem, but they think that they could still worship the angel of their country. Okay? Okay, so that's the Ramban's first category of idolatry. We're going back to the haGuela now. Like the fifth line. V'amin hasheni, the second type of idolatry, l'avodah zarah, shechazru l'avoid l'tzava hashemayim, that people began worshiping the heavenly bodies, like the sun and the moon and the stars. U'lamazlo min hamazalos, they worship the constellations. V'chashvu ki ba'avodasam yigdal hamazal, they thought that by worshiping them they're going to make that mazel, that constellation, more powerful. V'yoyel lohem, and then that constellation will help them. Yuyin Sham Ba'arichis Dvarav. The Ramban goes on at length, and then he says, Ad shekas kasav umimino avodah azois, that under this same category, the second category, hayamehem oivdim la'anashim, there were some of the non-Jews who worshipped people, like kings. Why? Ki biroisam loy mibnei ha'adam memshala gedola. Oh, le'echad, sorry. Biroisam le'echad, they saw that one person has a memshala gedola, is a great kingdom. Umazlo oilin, he's his mazel is being successful, like he's gaining power in the world. Ma'oid, very, very powerful. Nebuchadnezzar, like for example, Nebuchadnezzar, who was a king who controlled a huge part of the known world then. So Hayu Anshe Artsoi Choshvim, the people of his land thought, Ki Bekablam Aleim Avodasai, that if they accept Nebuchadnezzar as a god, the Kavanasam a love, and they think they daven towards him, Ya'ale Mazlam I Mazloi, then they will succeed together with him. When his mazel, his luck succeeds, then they'll also succeed. V'hu gamkein yechashev or yachshev, he will also think ki behidavek machshavoi samboy, when they think a lot about him as an avodah zarah, toisif lo yatzlacha, he'll be more powerful, he'll be more successful. Mikoyach nafshoseim hamukuvanu seilav, because they're thinking about him and they're pointing their thoughts towards him. V'zeh haya das paroi, this was why Paroi made himself into an idol. The sages say that Paroi, claimed to be divine. He went down to the river to go to the bathroom because he didn't want anyone to know that he had to use a real bathroom. So, whatever, he did it secretly early in the morning. So, that's what Chazal say. And that's why the people worshipped him, because they felt with his mazel they would be successful. This is why Sancheriv was also someone who claimed to be divine. This is the key line that the Ramban says. He says, the people who worshipped idols were not stupid. You can't say they thought that a person was a god. So what was the plot? Why they worship him? They worshipped him. They were Rishaim, they were bad, but they weren't stupid. So why did they worship him? Because they thought that his mazel is succeeding, so we're going to also be with him and our mazel will succeed. Kind of like when someone is very charismatic and people start to think that he's like superhuman and they start to almost worship him. So this is like a stage above that. Okay. Elu toichin dvarav yuin sham ba'arichus. That's the summary of the words of the Ramban. And what he doesn't mention is the third category. He said the Ramban says 3 categories of idols. The third category is the demons. Ramban says people used to worship demons. All right. So what is this negea to Zionism? Why is the Rebbe bringing this whole thing down here? Sefer is about Zionism, right? So he says like this: what do we see from the Ramban? The people worshipped a human being were not complete fools. Because they worshipped him because of his great success and luck in the world. But they were just bad people. They did the wrong thing. These kings, Nebuchadnezzar and Paroi, were very successful kings. She'ein l'shar, you can't imagine how much they conquered and accomplished. They were among the 10 kings who ruled over the whole world. Me'ez Brias Olam ad Melech HaMashiach. K'mavura b'Targum Sheni. The Targum Sheni is this Targum on Esther, on Megillas Esther, and It brings a lot of interesting midrashim. So this is one of the things it brings, that there were 10 kings who ruled over the whole world. Our Gemara says, I think only 3.
It's the Kedama.
What?
It's in the Kedama.
Yeah?
Yeah.
The Targum Sheni?
The Megillas has to, the Medrash.
Oh yeah? Okay. What do you... So anyway, Asher me'animnim bein elu hamalachim hu HaKadosh Baruch Hu. One of these 10 kings is HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself. So it's pretty strong language to say that Nebuchadnezzar ruled over the whole world, and Paro also. V'kavshu aratos b'koyach gadol ad ein l'shayr. These kings were conquering countries all around the world. V'chayra hu lepela. So the question is like this, and this is what's negated to Zionism. Lama hi niach HaKadosh Baruch Hu koyach gadol v'hatzlacha gedola kazu. Why did Hashem allow these kings to be so powerful? If He knew that people were going to worship them, then why did He allow them to get there, right? La reilim utmeim, people who are completely like they're non-Jews, they're bad, and they're going to come to avodah zarah based on that. Shia yada, he knows. Shia avoyu achikach avodah zarah rachmon litzlan. So he knows they're going to come to worship the king. So why did He let the king have the power that would lead people into worshiping him? So avakach hi amida. The answer is that's the way Hashem runs the world. Shabali tameh poistchim loy. That when someone wants to be tameh, he wants to do avodah zarah, Hashem will give him a chance to do it. And this is not even miraculous. Like he said before, other things in the Sefer, that sometimes avodah zarah does things that even look miraculous. Like someone will go and he'll get cured from the idol, or some people will ask for rain and the rain will come. So, this is small compared to that. He's going to let the king be successful even though people will worship him.
I know a pastor became a ger, who said that he was like healing people with the power of Yashki and stuff.
He really did it?
Yeah.
Or he didn't? He said, I don't believe it anymore.
No,
when he became a ger.
He said, he's like, but it might have been from the Tumah, and it's like might have been,
The atzlachasam meruba ad moed. Their success is very great. L'nasois es habrias, in order to test people. Yoiser mimasha seichel mechayev, more than it seems normal to us that should happen. V'hinei zeh haya b'inyan avodah zarah. That was in the old days when people used to do avodah zarah. Aval yitzra de avodah zarah batla. But today, there's no more evil inclination towards idolatry. Kamasha Amr Chazal, we see that Chazal say that the Anshe Knesset Hagdola daven that the avodah zarah yitzhar should be taken away. Avla Bavanusenu Arabim Yitzra de Minus Shoylet Achshav. The main yitzhar today is heresy. Yoister Mimasha Haya Az Bavodah Zarah. It's even more powerful than the old yitzhar avodah zarah. People get drawn into it because that's today's world. Science tells you, we have explanations for everything. We don't need God anymore. All the leftists, all the culture is atheist now. So people are drawn in.
Where is he getting this from? That it's stronger today than it was then?
I don't know. He's just saying Metzius, I guess. Anyway, v'alkein eila haminim. Therefore, these heretics of the state of Israel, the Israelis are matzliach more today because of the Samach Mem, because of this test that Hashem is sending for us. Because the Samach Mem controls them. And now we understand why when the Zionists are successful, like by the war in 67, now everyone's jumping on the bandwagon. Everyone wants to be part of their mazel, because if their mazel is going up, we want to be part of it too. That's the chasam. Lehanos mi Muslim. We want to have hana. We want to get a piece of the pie. That's the chasam. The same way it was in the old days with idolatry. This is very understandable for people who know the true Das Torah. But woe to us that such a thing happened in our lifetime.